We have an allocation of 16.69 billion shillings. This is very good money. If it will be realized, it will be collected, and implementation done correct. This is an effort to ensure that we are nurturing our talents early enough and improving infrastructure as well. Why do we struggle to nurture talent early enough? Remember, there are a number of skills. There are a number of sports that lifespan is very short. What is the lifespan of a gymnastic player? It is about 5 years or maximum. They start at 13, at 16 they're retiring. What's the lifespan of track and field athletes? It's probably 10 max or 12. If it is a marathon, and probably you're under the renowned Patrick Sang and you are Eliud Kipchoge, you could do 20, 25. But this is very rare. So if we don't nurture this in advance, then we lose the full potential of identifying, of them reaching their maximizing their talent as well. Again, if you look at some other sports that require a lot of skills of coordination, balancing, name it football. These are areas that require early identifications, put through proper pathways, and when I say pathway, I like the CBE, which is coming, is embracing the sports a lot. If these are taught well, there's what's called muscle memory, which I come to capture in the next slide. So early talent identification is very important, and this is what CAS is standing for, to be an excellence center where coaches are done upskilling, coaches are being licensed, and talent identification are done early enough and put through the requisite scientific applications for them to be harvested. The grassroots development. At the moment, the school games are going on in Kakamega. I think one of the in charge is here, Eliud Wambua, who is in charge of quality assurance, director. So, I've mentioned earlier that why should we introduce children to sports early? I've mentioned the crucial muscle memory for future professionals, the Olungas, the Malkia strikers, the late Wanja, the Eliud Kipchoge, Faith, and the rest. This requires calculated pathways that ensure that we don't miss a stage. If you saw the match between Harambee Stars and Angola and DRC, you could realize Kenya was struggling in the second half. The number of physiological demands of an event. This is an area that I'm very good at. You could tell how our athletes were running, the footballers were running. You could see how the DRC footballers were running. You could see the strength we have in the first half and the strength we had in the second half. People were fatigued, they were struggling. Why? Because the face has a different grass, it is spongy, you need a particular skill on how to do reactive runs, how to do the corners, so you can run with less energy and play longer and have enough endurance to take you through. We have a number of challenges facing this industry. You've seen around the country, county government were doing their stadiums. I'll give an example of Kericho that never lasted 3 years. The stadium was, the track, there was the athletics track, was peeled off. Why? Because it was never made to standards. If you look at CAF, FIFA, World Athletics, volleyball, basketball, the number of standard parameters that has been taken for you to do this. So if we rush, we do things hurriedly without considering the rookie standard measures, we end up with stadiums that cannot be used for international competitions. This year, we were having the trials for World Athletics. So this year is World Athletics in Tokyo, 2025. We really struggled to get a place to do trials because every track around here is occupied by Chan 2025. We have two main stadiums, Nyayo and Kasarani, as the main playing surfaces. Then we have 5 training grounds. So Ulinzi had to go through a test. We had to call experts from World Athletics to come do measurements, to certify the track, to be used for trials. That is how important and key when standardization has to be done. Another challenge, do we need the big concrete stadiums like Kasarani, like the one being built now along Gong Road, like Nyayo? I would say yes and no. If it's about talent identification, then we need playing surfaces, community-owned facilities, where kids will step out of class, out of school along the way we used to do, and you branch into a playing surface, and you arrive home looking different like you left. And you have to explain to your mother that the T-shirt you left with, the shirt you left which was white, is not brown. The color is still white. Not walking back home and running into social gadgets, playing video games, playing on phones. A parent arrives at home and you can't reach them on call because the kids have taken over the phones as well they're not using. So we need more of playing surfaces. And the government is doing something to that effect because I work at the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy as a sports advisor, and that's being implemented as well through community-based constituency academies. That's being spearheaded by the same Kenya Academy of Sports. I was given only 25 minutes and I used 3 minutes for introductions, I have less. So opportunities going forward. We have a number of the ongoing upgrades of stadia and sporting infrastructure around the country. The Talanta City Stadium will be quite iconic along Gong Road. That is going to host the AFCON 2027 and other rugby events as well in 2029, and a number of football as well that will be around. Potential for packaging the sports product to attract more sponsors. This now revolves around governance. We have over 100 federations in the country, but we realize the most problem with federations is governance. It is governance and governance. When there is good governance, this will attract corporates to come on board. This will attract private companies to develop their product for you to sell. They say in Swahili, pesa haipendi kelele. And for a reason that is true. Where there are wrangles of leadership, where there are inconsistencies in governance, where people don't want to leave offices, where we have career presidents in federations, because I know there are a lot of federations here, when we have career secretaries in federations, then the power play comes in, and this discourages corporates to invest with these federations. At the moment, majority of these federations, save for a few, that I would say probably Athletics Kenya, I would say football, the rest are being funded 100% by the government. Personally, I believe this should not be the trend. I believe if we develop products to sell, if we brand our athletes well, we can have a source of income as well, a source of revenue to cushion the gaps. Because when you rely heavily, I know of federations that are operating from people's briefcases. I know of some federations that don't have physical offices. And their job is to walk along the corridor of the ministry, setting up activities, making looking good budget proposals, and this is their job only. If we go that way, I don't think we'll make the country great. I don't think we'll be oriented to identify talents, because we're using federations to solicit money from the government. So I think as federations as well, we have an obligation to be proactive, to develop thematic areas, i.e. athlete welfare, talent development, sports science, sports medicine, empower coaches, and help our kids identify their talents in good time. Effect of all this. What is the positive effect of all this? We have the social mobility that the previous speaker mentioned about. The social mobility is either upward skilling of our socioeconomic status, that is the vertical. How do we improve the socioeconomic status of our athletes? How do we develop athletes that they could be earning money from sports? So sports is not PE as it used to be, where maths teachers, biology teachers will say, oh, it is sports. No, we're going to do maths homework. Sports is paying. Sports is business. And sports is a professional undertaking. If you look around the country, I'm a coach. I've produced around 5 world champions. I've produced around 2 Olympic champions, 5 Commonwealth Game champions, a number of African champions and national champions. Drawing athletes from the less fortunate in the society, teaching them for free, feeding and housing them. Some of them are very needy. I've stayed with some of them, for example, Timothy Chariot. He's a world champion, Olympic champion, 1,500 meters. If you look at the humble background that they came from and where he is now, you look behind you with a lot of satisfaction. Their kids going to school, the business open, petrol station, shops, supermarket, that have employed people as well. Again, the government is doing very well. Same on social mobility. That when you are so talented, you find a number of government agencies, the police, prisons, KDF, employing them, and they're running there as a club. Again, to coaches as well, like myself. You land on scholarships, education scholarships. You upskill yourself, you cross the border, and you start teaching. You cross the border, and you start coaching. Is that not sport? That is sport. But if it is well structured, if it is a sport that has systems, there are clear pathways, how do we change this to make it a system for our kids? How do we embed this in the CBE that will come to affect the industry, then the benefit trickles down to the young people that are coming up? We have more sports scientists. If you look at the data now, which is very rare, this is very limited, There are very few sports doctors. There are very few sports scientists. I saw Dr. Kwengu is in the group, just but a few sports scientists around. What happened to the sports scientists coming from KU? What is happening to the sports scientists coming from Masinde Muliro under Dr. Kwengu? If we don't do proper marketing, proper advertisement that the previous speaker spoke about, they die in between. Then sport just becomes a normal PE, which is given probably 1.5, 30 minutes after lessons. In conclusion, Kenya's sports industry is vibrant but a pivotal development stage. Combining government, private, and community efforts will unlock the growth and help this industry. The future looks promising with strategic investments and better infrastructure. More playing fields in communities, more constituency-based academies, the same that CAS is doing. If you can go around the countries, then there's availability of where kids walk into. Effective policies are needed to enhance inclusivity and reduce barriers, making sports a more equitable vehicle for social advancement. At the moment, I'm part of a team that was gazetted last year to look into national sports policy and legal framework. And most of the things that we are learning from here will be implemented in the same policy. It is very tight about governance. It is tight on commercialization. It is tight on athlete welfare. It is tight on sports science and sport medicine. It is tight on inclusivity, where we have everybody, the people with disability, our brothers with ID, intellectual disability, for example, Special Olympics, will be taken care of, and everybody will be treated equally in the sports. With those few remarks, I say thank you, and if there's any questions around.
Let us appreciate Coach Bernard Ouma. Out of this coach, we have had Elijah Manangoy, we have Timothy Cheriot, we have quite a number of people from Rongai.
Vincent Keter,
Winnie Chebet, an African champion in the 1500 meters. Coach, maybe just to bring what you've talked about, and especially on social mobility, you've mentioned that. How then, because you gave some solutions that we can get, how do we embrace social mobility, and how do we bring in the private sector into it to embrace and support the athletes, not just looking at the government or bigger corporates? How do we bring in the private small sector into sports to embrace our talent and our athletes?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. I'll repeat the Swahili. Pesa haitaki kelele. If we have good governance, if we have proper system that is setting pathways, if we do professional application of coaching, that's now the sports science, the sports medicine, if we structure our athletes and they're taught well around financial literacy, and we look in their welfare, if they're packaged well, then money will come. This will attract sponsorship and everybody will be on board. If we stop being selfish and we look into the welfare and the well-being of our kids who are future champions.
Thank you, Coach. That means that the challenge comes back to us. We need to package ourselves better. Is it?
Perfectly. I'm sure when everybody was coming here, you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I look smart. That is the same way you need to package your federations, you need to package your system of operations, you need to package your athletes, the coaching process. There must be a system in everything. And you employ professionals. Professionalism attracts resources.
All right. Thank you very much. Let us applaud him. Anybody with a question to Coach before he sits down? Aba lunch bado ina nini? Oh, we have one over there. Can we kindly have our microphone? And as we do the roaming question, let me have on stage here Grace Athiambo, the captain for Kenya Lionesses. Please walk to here. Grace, I will be introducing you better in a bit. Yeah, let's have that question.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mine is more into the financial literacy, whereby we have financial crisis in the country and in the universe. It's true that we need to educate our young ones towards that. But how do we approach it? Let's not be just talking as a theory. People are suffering, and we need financial literacy, especially with the sports people, because truly speaking, we have so many people winning, getting a lot of money. At the end of the day, the money is gone. They've done nothing, and it's really frustrating. And thank you. It's not a question, but
that's a very good question, and highlighting issues that are bedeviling our country and the industry as well. Athletes who probably their net worth was a bit low, then all of a sudden they're getting 100% fold. From maybe earning 10,000 a month to all of a sudden having 50 million in your account. You've killed that athlete if you didn't prepare them very well. Deliberate attempt in training produces the result that we're looking for. Deliberate attempt from financial institutions, because this money has to be wired somewhere. We don't want to do balance sheets, money in, money out. It is a responsibility which could be a social responsibility, corporate social responsibility of banks as well, to ensure that the same athletes they're targeting coming in with a lot of dollars and other foreign currencies are taught well how to manage their money. If they invest well, then when they retire, their money will work for them. So that question goes against the corporate world. The banks, I've seen KCB doing a lot, NCBA as well doing a lot, Sports Pesa, I don't know whether they want to pick that one, and other agencies that are helping our athletes bring in money from abroad. Because they don't come in cash, in bags, but they pass through financial institutions. I don't know whether I was clear.
You're clear? You're good? Thank you. We have another question right here.
Thank you. For me, I'm athlete, and then I want to ask the question for coach. Sometimes you found yourself you have potential, and then but you don't have even the camp or any supporter, any management. And then even if you go around, you want to join the team, you can join, but you don't have even the coach. What advice you can give us, like as an athlete?
Not to preempt what is coming up in the policy, but I'm sure we're putting regulatory measures to take care of that. That's falling under athlete welfare and talent development, where we'll be having professionals which are out, probably through CAS, to identify these talents, put them through the rookie side, professional hands, which would be the coaches, and they'll be taken through the support that is required. I'm sure probably, not to preempt again, there's some classes that is giving out money to development of athletes, and a number of federations that are having good policies on the ground to support. So that's a very good question, and the government does support you.
Right. Now we're going to give Coach a break as we get into the plenary session. Let us appreciate him one more time. Thank you, Coach. Now we just want to delve into the athletes and the coach that I have ahead of you, in front of you today, are basically going to be delving into the perspective of what sport can do for you, to you, and what other avenues can be opened up for you when you are excelling in the world of sport. Allow me to introduce Coach Patrick Sang. He is a council member of the Kenya Academy of Sport, and a celebrated athletes coach. He's a visionary athletics coach and an Olympic silver medalist. He did win a steeplechase silver medal in 1992 Barcelona Olympics. He has celebrated career spanning for 3 decades in elite sports, and he is known for coaching global champions like Eliud Kipchoge, Jeffrey Kamworor, Faith Kipyegon. Can I continue with the list? But now you will be applauding coach on that side. Thank you very much. Then in the middle, we do have Grace Athiambo Okulu. Grace, maybe just wave to the crowd like this. They're used to seeing you in jerseys in Kenyan colors, but she is the captain of the Kenya Lionesses rugby. And this year alone, she has managed to lead this team to back-to-back wins in the World Rugby Challenger Series. Please appreciate Grace one more time. She's an Olympian, having represented Kenya in the Tokyo, Japan Games in 2020. Also has represented Kenya in the Commonwealth Games in 2018, as well as also winning the Rugby Africa Sevens title with the Kenya Lionesses. Well, she recently was elected as the athlete representative for the National Olympic Committee of Kenya. Again, may you applaud that. We are here to celebrate achievements for our people. If we don't celebrate ourselves, who will celebrate us? Yeah? And also, out of sport, she was able to get a career and employment in the discipline forces. She is a constable, the rank of constable as a police officer. You see how talent has, it has grown out, has diversified just from the field to the career side. Also, on my near side here is Stella. Stella, let me just get to that bit. Yes, right here. Stella Tioi is a wheelchair basketball athlete and a communications professional. You see, she's juggling between the two of them. But we appreciate her. Stella is a Kenyan wheelchair basketball athlete, and she's very passionate about disability rights. She does advocate for the rights of those with disability, and with a dynamic career in corporate communications and inclusive development. Her introduction to adaptive sports came at the age of 14 when she was attending an exchange program in the US. And moving forward, she just got the love for basketball and wheelchair basketball. And she has been talking about this sport and people like her ever since. So let us appreciate Stella. I'm going to start with Coach. Now, as we are exploring this theme of diversification and culture opportunities in sport, you, after becoming an athlete and represented this country on the athlete level when you were young, after that, you thought, I have so much to offer, having studied abroad and came back, and you started nurturing athletes and tailor-making them to what we have seen them today. Will you kindly and briefly explain how that journey started for you? What really made you feel like you want to package athletes to what you package them today, like Eliud?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I think the theme of this symposium, career fair, is really timely in the sense that what has to go out there, that we need to explore opportunities within the sports industry. I'm glad that different institutions are represented here, more so those are coming from the education sector, because the universities have a lot to offer in terms of development of different careers in sports. I am a living example of so many things packaged in one. One is that I was privileged to gain scholarship through sports. I got to study for my first degree. I did my postgraduate, and all because of sports. So, is anybody listening out there?
Guys, are we together? Yeah, please, let us be responsive to each other and you're to tusaidiane.
So out of that, I was assisted by so many people. And that's why when we come together here, we are here to make linkages, to share ideas on how we can broaden that cake that comes out of the sports sector. Sports go hand in hand with education. So in the process, I developed my talent. I became somebody who represented this country. In 1988, when we opened Kasarani, I won Kenya, I won a medal, gold medal for Kenya in the All African Games. That is the journey. After that, I went to Olympics and all that, winning medals in the World Championships, Olympics. What now the question that has come to the table, what made me go back to coaching? Like I said, developing a talent is a process. It starts from identification, it goes through all that process, schooling and all that. Many people hold your hand. In my case, many people held my hand. When I won, I was telling the presenter that 33 years ago I won a medal in the Olympics in Barcelona. And the guy who helped me get a scholarship happened to have been in the stadium that day. And he ran like a madman, and the security had to wrestle him down just because he saw the product of giving a chance to a talent. So when reflecting later on, I said, all these things that I've had is because of sports. What can I do? That's when I took up the responsibility of helping others through coaching. And the journey has also been very fruitful. We've heard so many stories, and I think most of you are aware. I don't want to talk about it. So that is the journey, and the journey is a little continua.
All right. Thank you, Coach. A clap for that. It is out of his help, of course, with other people in the ecosystem at the global sports communication. They have been able to package our athletes. The celebrated athletes that we keep talking about and I've just mentioned is because such brains are put together because they want to package our athletes to a better package out there to the corporate and to the sponsors that we're looking for. Let's just hear briefly from Grace how your journey began and how out of rugby, eventually you got a different kind of job just because sports, you were very good at what you do. Just give us your background, a little bit on your rise on rugby and how it connected you to the police forces.
Thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
You can be louder than that, Grace. I know you can be.
I'm sorry about my voice. I've been having like a sore throat and it's not bad. It's good right now. So my journey actually started when I was 9. I was pretty young. I didn't even know about sport that much. But let me just say that my family was so much into sport. I found myself starting playing football, and my coach took me from football to rugby. My mom was not so confident in me playing rugby. She actually told me to stop playing rugby and concentrate in football. So I used to hide. I used to sneak out of football classes and go to rugby classes. Until one day I injured myself. I got a wrist injury. I was unable to do my dishes like kawaida tu venye mtu anaweza kuwa na duties. I was unable to do my duties and I told my sister to do it for me. My mom later found out and akaanza kufuatilia. She came back and noticed that I was not going to football classes. It was rugby. And akanitoa kutoka rugby actually for like 6 months. It was chaos between my mom and the coaching, between me, my mom and coach. And yeah, unfortunately or with time, she came and accepted that I needed to play rugby. And now name and my future and everything that I am today is because of the sport. It's because my mom came to in good terms with me playing rugby. I can support all the way, and now that I'm here, I was unable to get the police job through rugby, which is Kenya Lionesses, performing good, but it was after we lost for like 7-6 years. We were just losing. Every time we became number 2, number 3, and unfortunately no one understands atukifika number 2 or number 3. The only thing that people consider is you being on the top, and we became top, and we were asked, what do you want? We said we want long career jobs, and that is opportunity. What will you do with the opportunity? Like, what will you do if you're given that opportunity?
All right, so it's all about resilience because you had this passion and you fought through it and you were very consistent about it. It is for this reason, Grace, you are also able to have a stint in Japan.
Yes.
Maybe you tell us how the good skill and leading the Kenyan team has also helped you diversify to the international level, and for a short stint you were able to play internationally in Japan.
Actually, even being selected to go play in Japan is not easy because Japan is like one of the developed countries when it comes to rugby. But I know it's not only rugby, even athletic. I'll say like Lioness's journey started like long time ago. I think it's like 10 years. We were just losing. We actually, it's only in 2018 where we were able to become #1 at the African Championship. After that, we never won anything. We're just becoming number two. And so the one thing that Lionesses don't do, we don't give up. We strive, we fight, we cry, we lose that game, but we don't lose the lessons. We took our lessons and we have been performing really good, I'll say, since last year. And this year we were able to win our tournaments and we qualify for the high stages at the World Rugby, which is the Division 2. And me going to play for Japan, it was through my teammates. Rugby is a contact sport. You definitely need your teammates. You cannot play alone. It was all thanks to my teammates, my managers, my coaches who held my hands and tell me, Grace, there's no losing. If my mom had lost faith in me and tell me not to continue playing rugby, I could probably never be here. But since she helped me, she held my hands and tell me go play, I was able to play and I was able to be the player that I am today.
All right, congratulations. Let us appreciate her.
Thank you.
All right, now let's hear from Stella Tio. You know, Stella took up this challenge and just out of an exchange program, she was able to know what wheelchair basketball is. And eventually she became the best defensive player of the year at the North Carolina Junior Thunder. That is with the wheelchair basketball team. And she has also represented this country in the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, as well as the 2023 Para-African Games in Accra. Stella, maybe you just tell us how that switch, that light bulb in the head, how did it go on when you were just 14? How did you end up loving this game and fighting through it all to get to where you are?
Thank you so much. So as you mentioned, I fell in love with wheelchair basketball when I was only 14, and this is when I was going for the exchange program. But before that, I really did not know there is anything like para sports or Paralympic sports, yeah? So when I joined wheelchair basketball in North Carolina for a whole year, and of course my exchange year came to an end, I came back to Kenya, and I wondered, how will I continue playing wheelchair basketball? Because I didn't know there's such a sport here in Kenya. But luckily, through a friend of mine who was actually part of the wheelchair basketball team in Kenya, I joined the wheelchair basketball team here, and I made the national team. And in 2017, I actually that was my first game to participate in South Africa, which was African qualifiers in South Africa. So through that, I've gotten to fall in love with the game, not only for the fact that I can compete internationally, but also for the fact that it contributes positively to the lives of persons with disability, especially when it comes to, keeping fit and also being social and economically empowered. And just to give a shout out to KS and of course the Ministry of Sports, last December, I think, Kenya wheelchair basketball team was part of the holiday program, holiday camp, and through that we are able to empower persons with disabilities and also encourage new talent, because I think new talent has been one of the key challenges we've been facing, attracting new talent. And so through that program, we've been able to constantly attract new persons with disability, new talent into the wheelchair basketball team.
Amazing. That is very good to know that now we can be able to include the wheelchair basketball team in our programs. Now, just briefly, just share some light on how you balance this athletic side of you with the fair challenges that it comes with, and also being a PR, a communication person in your career. How are you able to balance that? How do you blend this into sport? Because like the theme is saying, and I will say this over and over again, it is career opportunities that can come through sports. It can be sports PR. How then do you blend that?
Thank you so much for that question. Just like anyone else, any other professional, it can be quite hard to balance sports and your career as well as your personal life, especially as you transition from campus into the working space. But I think I've been able to balance the two, mainly because communications is something I love to do. And so I have tried to come up with how can I leverage communication to also impact sporting, right? Mm-hmm. And that comes advocacy for me. So I've constantly tried to use communication to advocate for inclusive sporting development and inclusion for persons with disabilities. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Maybe lastly, Coach, I wanted to expand your perspective because you have so much to offer in embracing the talent. How do you identify this one talent that you need to package, not just for the track or the pitch performance, but also as a brand? Because quite a number of you some of your athletes have been able to grow out just to diversify to the branding side. How do I identify that, and how do you become consistent with it?
Thank you. Generally, talents come through the sports programs that we run in our primary schools, in our secondary schools, tertiary institutions, and of course the universities. We have other players now that have come into place. They're like the institution that runs this symposium, CAS. These are the sources of the talents. Talent is not enough. Talent is a package. You have to have the character, you have to have the long vision as far as the career in sports is concerned. So usually when I'm profiling the athletes that I work with, I look at how they see the sport long-term, short-term, medium-term, versus the character also. You put together that. And in the end, if you have somebody who has a certain percentage of that, maybe 80% package as listed, then it's easier to work long-term, and it's easier to attract a sponsorship and other support personnel. People would drift towards, there was a story when Carl Tundov brought the rally drivers to visit our athletes last year. One of the athletes was asked, why don't you have a sign showing where you stay? And he said, where there's Annie, a bee will always find. So in terms of when you have all these packages, long-term and all that, the ones I've explained, the chances of attracting sponsorship and people working with you in terms of support personnel, the long haul, is very high. And lastly, because I see that we didn't cover extensively what should have been, and hopefully the university sector that is going to combine talent and education is going to look into it, because if we get it right from the basics, I think in the long stretch, we are going to have finer products that are well cultured, that are not noisy, because we are told noise is allergic to many entities. And lastly, the people in the legal fraternity, I think the legal framework that is there is not so enabling, but I would wish that there was a law that was proposed by Amina as a minister that was going to help corporate entities put money in sports and get a waiver, tax waiver. My encouragement is that if that opportunity or if that law went through, because it was a bill, then it should be tapped into such that people who are talented can be given scholarships through funding the universities, because we hear other struggles that are going on. Have those seed money that are given to talented athletes in different universities. That way the universities can easily have inroads to federations and play a bigger role in development of our talent. Sorry for taking extra time. Thank you.
It's all right. Let us appreciate the panel, people. I'm just about to wind this session. Do we have a question, or have I exhausted all the questions for you? We have one. Yeah, right here. I will take two. Do we have any other? And right there. Then we close our session and we go to the education segment. He's just behind you. Just behind you. The microphone should be just behind you. Sir, there, behind you.
Okay, I'm Ken, and my question goes to Coach. Could you take us through a brief explanation on how you identify talent from, let's say, a kid from a kid who uses makeshift facilities in his or her sports, and a kid who is familiar with the best facilities, that he or she uses in sports, and how do you merge the two when working forward?
Maybe we can get the other question quickly so that we can answer both. Is it to Coach as well? Your question? Kindly pass the microphone quickly so that Coach can answer all of them together. The gentleman in a dark red shirt at the back. Raise your hand, please. Yeah. Thank you. Briefly present your question.
Okay, I'm Amon. My question to Coach is a simple and quick one. Coach, as you said, you've been there and you're wanting to be there, and you've been taking people there. So my question was, is it true that any day, any time from now, or even on the days coming, do you see any changes? Like, do you see any day like things changing on how the players, the one who don't have facilities, the lower ones, and the ones, like let's say we have, in hockey we have 4 leagues, the National League, the Super League, and the Premier League. But when now it comes to the choosing of the players for the nationals and let's say for the national team, it becomes so difficult where you get that a player who plays the National League or the Super League, they are like let's say a percent of 10 out of 100 for him to make it to the national team. So like what protocols are followed, and for a player to be there, like what should he or she have, and is there any changes that are to be made on the like actual or current methods that are used to select players for such levels?
Thank you. I will delegate the last question to my APO champion here from Lioness. The question is more directed about team sports. So my background is mostly handling individual sports athletes. So on the first question, to me, talent is talent. How do we identify? We go to sporting venues in primary championships, secondary school championships, or any other championships, even the selection for junior championships. That's the right stage to identify talent. Whether you are well endowed with equipment, resources, it does not make a difference. Talent is talent. I think that's the best way I can answer that, because you are looking at polishing what is in that individual, not what that individual comes with in terms of the external incentives or package.
Thank you, Coach. I don't know whether Grace will take up that challenge, because you're still an active athlete. He's asking from the governance perspective and the technical perspective of how they select their players, right?
Okay, let me attempt on the governance. In 2016, I was a CEC in Nandi County, and we were privileged to handle the rugby team. That was the time that I actually interacted closely with team governance in sports. And it was interesting because what you're trying to present, I could feel from a distance that it was happening. But ideally, it should not happen. Fairness should prevail in selection of players if we want to progress as a country, as federations that handle team sports. Thank you.
Grace, would you want to say something?
I'll probably just say what Coach has said. Talent is talent. And one thing about sport, when it comes to team sport, one thing I think the coaches look for more is discipline. You must be a disciplined player. You will be taught, but if you're not willing to learn, there are some people who just come, and it's really hard because you'll have like two types of players. There'll be Stella, who is coming to learn, and then there's me, Grace, who I know that I only have one strength. Let me say that I'm speed, but Stella, you'll find that Stella has like a combination of three. If you're a coach, which player will you choose? I will definitely go with Stella because she has like three combinations. She's strong, she's a team player, which is, because this is like a team player, you cannot play a sport team alone. And then you will take her because she's disciplined, and a disciplined player is a player who can lead the team. So like, and if you have discipline, you'll be disciplined in your sports, you'll be disciplined in your teammate, you'll respect your teammate, you will know what you want because your discipline will like thriving you to want for success.
Let us appreciate Grace. Any coach in the room, you can see we already have talent here. Grow, my fellow coach, she's coming up, yeah? All right, let us appreciate this panel. We are just closing that section. Thank you very much, Grace. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Stella. We will now be crossing to the next presentation and the next part of this program. Allow me to introduce on stage my fellow journalists. They use this word here, journalists. She has taught us through quite a bit. And she's also a motorsport athlete. She's a driver. She has participated in the rally quite a number of times. So put your hands together for Pauline Chegu, who will be taking us through the Ministry of Education and Teaching and how we balance teaching and sport. Let us appreciate her. She comes on stage.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Can you wave? Good. I believe you have learned a lot from the just concluded team. And my co-presenter here has introduced me. I believe most of you here know Pauline Chegu. I'm a media personality. I'm a communication expert, and I'm a professional safari rally driver. So I'm standing before you here as a sports fanatic. So I'm in the best space to explain to you matters sports, but mine is a very unique field, safari rally. It's unfortunate that we didn't have some of the motorsport people, but with time you'll get to engage with me and I take you through it. For today we'll discuss about career fair and what Kenya Academy of Sports is bringing to you. And also I believe you've enjoyed the drifting out there. When you went to the exhibitions, you saw the drifting part. Those who would wish to have a feel of safari rally, see me behind the tent. After this, I'll give you the tips. Yeah, I'm here to take you through the second session of this Exploring Core Sports Pathways in the Kenya Academy of Sports Career Fair. And my work is to talk about matters to do with education. And with me here today I'm tasked to moderate the session with the experts in the field of education. Allow me to introduce one of the panelists. My number one panelist is Mr. George Gadungu. Mr. George Gadungu is representing his CEO, Dr. George Njegere, CEO, Kenya National Examination Council. He's here on behalf of his boss. So whatever he'll explain to you, please take it serious. He's an expert in matters education and sports and other activities besides just theory. Mr. George Gadungu is a Bachelor of Arts holder of PE from Kenyatta University. Currently, he's the examinations officer, Kenya National Examination Council. He's a teacher for over 15 years experience. He teaches physical education. He's also a handball coach. He's a physical education examiner with the same institution, Kenya National Examination Council. So let's appreciate Mr. George Gadungu as he joins us to this panel. Karibu sana. He'll speak about the assessment mechanisms for sports. So I'll give him a chance to talk about this topic. And please be attentive. I know this topic matters to do with education is very critical, especially with our youths here. Our school-going children are here. Also, I've seen some of you. You are also parents of these kids. So matters to do with education and sports is very, very critical for you as parents, as participants, and I believe you'll take home something. So let's appreciate Mr. George Gadungu as he comes to the podium to talk about assessment mechanisms for sports. Let's appreciate him with an applause. Karibu sana. Thank you. Kindly, media team, if you have the presentation for Mr. George, kindly display it. Tusikae wanyonge vile, tuchangamke, tuulize maswali, tuelimike, tujikakamue. Sivyo, ukitoka hapa ukienda nyumbani, utajua na nini ambacho umejifunza kutoka ukumbi huu. Kwa hivyo, team media please. Thank you. Prepare your questions. This is a very sweet topic, matters to do with education and sports. And it's going to benefit you as parents because it's about youth development on matters sports. Thank you. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. So we are here to discuss matters to do with the position of sports and physical education in our basic education. And I think all of us here should be celebrating because for the first time in the history of this country, physical education and sports will be taught to all learners, and it is very well recognized in the new dispensation. So giving opportunity to our children to display or show their potentials, to demonstrate their potentials, and also to educate us to identify potentials early enough. Coaches in the house will tell us that if a talent is identified early, it is possible for them to nurture. But it has been very difficult for our country because sometimes we identify the talents when it is already too late. So we should be celebrating that as we shall see. As we wait for, okay. So we are looking at the provisions that are there or the assessment mechanisms in the competency-based education. Maybe you could go to the next. So I just want to present how sports and physical education, I'm using both terminologies because at some levels, there are some levels where it is used interchangeably. I just want to share how the assessment is organized in CBC. Most people will talk about CBC. We have the rationale and the documents guiding us. One of them is what we call the Basic Education Curriculum Framework, which is spelling out how education, the competency-based education, is organized. Then we have the curriculum designs for each level. For those of us who are not educators, is that the document that teachers use to implement or to teach, plan teaching, and to offer instructions is called curriculum designs, and this is stipulated for each and every level, every class, every grade. Then we have a framework that guides assessment, what we are calling the CBA framework, and we have some guidelines for school-based assessment. Now we ask ourselves then, why assess, why examine sports? So one, there is no, apart from religious education, there is no other subject that aids with education. It is only physical education and religious education. What does that mean? That means that we are looking at a holistic child development, where we are taking care of the cognitive, physical, emotional, and social domains. We want an athlete who will understand the rules of the game. We want somebody who will do some exercises to develop physically and even know what to eat and what not to eat. Somebody who will know how to behave when they win and when they lose. Somebody who will know how to deal with the money that they get after winning, as somebody has raised here in this symposium. And then the issue of social domains, how do I live with others, even in the teams and wherever else. Then we're also talking about building 21st century skills. It is said that today, other than the academic papers that we have, there are some other skills that we require for us to thrive. Issues of communication, we have to communicate effectively. We have to work in collaboration. We have team sports where people have to work together. We need critical thinkers before somebody scores in soccer, before somebody strikes in that volleyball or rugby or whichever other game. They must think critically how to maneuver in order for them to win. We want somebody who can solve problems. We realize that in most of our arenas in sports, we may have one or two facilities, but how do we solve those problems and become innovative? Then issue of encouraging inclusivity in participation, issues of fairness. Then in the assessment, we also want to bring in the issue of facilitating talent identification for future development under the sports pathway. You realize that, as we shall see, as learners proceed to senior school, grade 10, they are going to join pathways, and one of the pathways provided is the sports pathway. Then the assessment here will inform instruction and remediation, as well as reinforce values like sportsmanship, the issues of respect, responsibility, and also resilience that we need to introduce early enough to our learners. Then just to take you through the organization of the basic education and how sports will be assessed, is that we shall assess sports in 4 levels. One level is the pre-primary level. You may think that these are too young to be assessed. Then we have primary level, where we have the lower primary and the upper primary. Then the junior school, grade 7, 8, 9. Senior school, grade 10, 11, and 12. So in all these levels, we are going to use 2 approaches to assess sports. One is formative assessment, and the other one is summative assessment.
Informative assessment, we are saying it is the teacher who is assessing during instruction. As they teach, teachers are assessing and they are identifying these talents. When we talk of assessment here, we are not talking about a written test. We are talking about using a variety of tools. So a teacher could just observe, a teacher could just use a checklist or an observation schedule just to see the progress of the learner. Then informative assessment, again, we are going to have standardized assessments provided by NEC, because the classroom assessments are designed and executed by the teacher. When we come to summative assessment, is that sports will be assessed at various levels at the end of each critical grade, like grade 6, grade 9, and grade 12. So there are those assessments where P will be included. So I want us to just familiarize ourselves with the assessment at the lower primary in details, grades 1 to 3. Why I will avoid talking about assessment at PP1 and PP2 is because this is a devolved function. It is managed by the county government, and NEC has no involvement other than empowering those teachers when requested. So our responsibility begins at grade 1, 2, and grade 1 rather. And at this level, PE is called psychomotor activities. So if you are a parent and your child is telling you that they are doing psychomotor activities, that is the name of physical education at that level. And here, the assessment that is done after teaching is formative assessment, basically classroom assessment. It's only the teacher who is interacting with these learners. And here, the aim of PE, this psychomotor activity, is to develop the locomotor skills. It is to develop the manipulative skills, issues to do with balance and coordination. So most of the activities will be centered around those three domains. So here, we don't give written tests. The learners will be assessed through performance-based, practical in nature, where they are asked to perform some activities. And we are using a variety of tools, as I mentioned, the observation schedules, checklist rating skills. There's one called rubrics. For those who are teachers will understand this. And then at the end of grade 3, we'll have a national assessment, which is integrated. It is not paper for PE alone. It is integrated with other subjects. And here, teachers are responsible of administering the assessment. Then, when it comes to reporting of assessment at this level, we are going to tell the country that this is the position of lower primary as far as psychomotor activity is concerned. So after the lower primary, then we go to upper primary, grade 4, 5, 6. And here the name changes from psychomotor activities, and we go to physical and health education. Again, here we are going to carry out the two types of assessment, formative assessment, carried out by the teachers. But here we start tracking the opportunity, the potential of the learner from grade 4. We are going to see how they are performing in different topics, which we are calling strands. If they are strong in field events, if they are strong in track events, if they are strong in ball games, we start tracking them from grade 4 through the assessments that we are giving. And the reports are analyzed as so that by the time they are getting to grade 10, we are already saying this child's strength is in athletics and not in soccer. So in the formative assessment, other than what the teachers are giving in class as classroom assessment, there are also standardized tools provided by NEC, which we call school-based assessments. So these are administered to learners at grade 4 and 5. And when it comes to grade 6, I'm very sure we have heard of KIPSEA, Kenya Primary School Education Assessment. PE is one of the subjects that are assessed. And the domains that we are targeting here is the mastery of the game. We start now teaching them how to master the game techniques, understanding the rules, leadership in sports, fair play and teamwork, fitness and body coordination. Because other than becoming professionals, we also want to promote fitness and healthy living among the learners. So at this level of upper primary, grade 4, 5, and 6, we provide performance-based tasks. We are really discouraging written tests for PE. We want practical so that these talents can be shown. So at the formative level, we give performance-based tasks. But when it comes to summative, at grade 6, this is where now we'll give a written test. So the assessment tools that we'll use, I'll show them in the next slide. But when we come to grading, this is very important. When it comes to grading, we'll combine the scores that the learner got from formative assessment, which were independently assessed by the teachers, plus what they score during the national assessment, the summative at grade 6. And this is computed at a ratio of 40 to 60, meaning at grade 4, whatever the learner will get at grade 4 will contribute 20% of their final grade at the end of upper primary. Grade 5, again 20%, and that is what makes formative assessment 40%, so that the assessment that they are sitting at the end of grade 6 will only contribute 60%. And when it comes to reporting the outcomes, telling the learner how they have performed, you are not telling them that they have scored 20% or 30%. We are describing that this child's strength is in this area, this domain. So that's why we are talking about qualitative assessment, and we also talk about quantitative assessment. You've had maybe skills like meeting expectation, because the curriculum developer did indicate that at this level, this is what we expect in terms of performance for this learner at this at every level. So it means that we are not just saying that they had 75%, but you can, from the report, you can tell that this is a volleyballer in making, this is a handballer in making, this is an athlete in making, from the reports, because they're able to analyze per topic. So here we give individual learners report, which looks like a certificate, but then we give school-specific report. We tell the school, this is how you have performed in relation to the national means of the country, or how PE has performed nationally, and how your school has performed nationally. Now you can rate yourself, or you can rate yourself against the national performance. Then we write a national report to inform policy, and from that we are able to tell the country the requirements, the way forward, and all that. So this is just a demonstration of the tools that are used. So we are saying the teacher is at liberty to use any of the tools. We are not dictating that they use a particular tool. So they can use questionnaires, checklists, portfolios, all those. So teachers are familiar with that, and they are taken through training. When it comes to junior school, this is very critical.